What's up everyone, Path XXR2 has been out for well over a month now, and it still feels like I'm learning something new every day. This game is massive, and there are so many hidden secrets and hidden systems and things that you just might not be aware of because the game just doesn't teach you them, it doesn't show you them. So today I wanted to go over them. I wanted to go over some of the big things that I've been learning recently, that I've done recently that I haven't already covered. And these are things that will really help you progress. They'll really help you get stronger, get further at endgame, and they might even give you some things to do that you haven't been doing yet. This is going to be quite a long one. I'm going to try to go into detail into all of these things. So if you do learn something new, you find something useful here that you haven't seen before, do consider subscribing to the channel. I make a ton of guides and builds Path XR2 and other games like this. But let's get straight into this. See you, it's going to be a big one. Okay, so first up, strong boxers. These are these big metal boxes that you will find out in the world, and lots of people think these are bad and not worth even using because the rewards are so bad. Well, they are bad, but you can make these rewards better by upgrading them. Just like anything else in the game, these strong boxes can be upgraded. So when you see them, they'll be blue, usually with a couple of affixes. You can use a or of augmentation to add more affixes to them and more. Affixes can lead to more rewards. You can then use an orb of a regal orb to upgrade them from a blue to a yellow, making them even better. And then you can even use exalted orbs to give more affixes to this strong box. You can basically treat these like a stone, make them stronger and stronger and stronger. It does make them harder, but the rewards will be better. And if you interact with them, normally the rewards are just bad. So better than bad is still good. I've not had anything crazy from here, but I have had decent rewards that make them worth using, so definitely upgrade these if you find them. And you don't have to use exalted on them, but at least put a couple of the lower tier materials in to make them yellow, to make them have a chance of something good. Okay, now let's talk about jewels. So if you're new to Path of XR2, or you haven't really looked into the jewel system, you could be missing out on tons of damage. Jewels can literally define your build, and if you're a guide or you're trying to just patch something together and you're not using jewels correctly, that could be the defining thing that's not making your build pop off like the ones you're maybe watching. So I want to go over them in quite a bit of depth, show you how to make them better, and some tips to find jewels that you haven't even seen before. Okay, so let's go to the stash and let's get some jewels. So I'm just going to grab some at random. I'll grab like the first 5. So the first thing to say is if you're equipping a jewel like this is the first thing we can improve on. So you see here, this is something you would just find it would drop from a mob. It would drop as you're playing the game. You don't want to equip this. The first thing you want to do is upgrade it. Like everything else in the game, this can be upgraded. So again, you can use orb of transmutation, orbs of augmentation, and regal orbs. I always have these on me at all times just cause most things can be upgraded. So if we take this one, this has nothing on it, we can use an orb of augmentation to give it an extra 8x, and then we can use a regal orb to turn it into a yellow. And then if you really want, you can use an exalted orb to give it an extra 8x. So grab the buck more to show you. And I would say 4 ixes is like the bare minimum of what you should be equipping in your jewel slots. And again, if you're brand new, these are your jewel sorts. They're like little circles. They're empty circles that you'll see on your passive tree, and that's where you equip the jewels. So 4 affixes is like the bare minimum you want to be going for. Once you've got them to 4 affixes, you might be in a position where one of them is a good roll. 3 of them on. One thing you can do is you can use chaos orbs to potentially roll off a bad AX. So say here we've got increased armor, increased rage. They're all pretty good. Over here we've got like stun, fire resistance, fire damage. So you wanted to roll one of those, use that, and it's switched over to melee damage. You can do that now if you don't like any of them. So you don't like any of these, you can go to the reforging bench and then you get another chance. So if you put all 3 of those in here, we reforge them. We now have an unidentified, we identify it. And now we have a brand new one with completely different affixes. Leech, increased armor, weapons, things like that. So you get another chance. Okay, so that's the 3 basic jewels, the emeralds, the rubies, the sapphires, but there's also something called a time lost jewel. And these come from the Trials of Sea. If you go in the Trials of Sea with the Jinn buyer, these things here, and you have the 4 trials, when you get to the end, there'll be a big room full of like chests, and these can drop the time lost jewels, the really good jewels. Additionally, if you go and you finish the Trial of Sea, if you finish a Trial of Sea, and you get this, you get these things here when you complete your Trial of Sea. you will get unique relics. So these are all the different relics in the game that you're probably already aware of. There are special unique relics for completing a Trial of C. Now you can use these, and they will make the Trial of C harder, and at the end the boss will drop and against the Darkness Jewel. And these are even better than that, so there are lots of really good jewels in the game tied behind these Tri of C, so I would definitely encourage you to go and do that. They're pretty tough, so you know your build's got to be up to it. You can also get these, you can trade for these very, a couple of exalts, 5 to 10 exalts, and you can get these as well. And they look like this, so let's talk about them real quick, however you want to get them. So here I've got 3 rubies, because we're talking about rubies. If we just identify all 3 of these, let's look at them. You can see here small passive skills and radius grant. And increased damage with war cries passives get increased magnitude, and they give 1 rage on melee. Hey, we've got here grant increased elemental damage block chance knockback, and rage on melee here increased fire damage. So you see there's lots of cool things these do, and the main thing here is these were all the same, and you can see they have radius. So this has a small, and this has a medium. Okay, so if I go to the passive tree, we'll load it up, and we go to a slot. I got this one here, I got an emerald. In here I'll take this out, and I'll show you with this one. This says small passives will give increased damage with war cries, and then notables will give 7% increased magnitude, and 1 rage on here. So, if we put this in, basically what it will do is these things here are small passives, so these will get that, and then the notables are these big things here, so the big ones are the notables, and these are small passives. If we put this in, you'll see the small passives will get increased damage with war CES. So, if we took any of these 3 things here, or any of these, you see it has 3% increased damage with war CES, and then if we were to get any of these big ones, we would get rage on hit and magnitude, this one and this one. So any, if we take that, we take that. If we take that, we would get those extra things, and that's big. 1 rage on hit in 3, 4, 5 locations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 locations is really good. That's a lot. So these are really good. And this is a small radius. If we put the medium radius in, we now capture that whole cluster, half of this cluster, and that whole cluster there, so you can really get a lot of really good bonuses. And if you had, what does this one do? 1% fire damage for every small passive. So every small passive here gets 1 fire damage, 3% leech, and minions gain physical damage reduction. So every single one of these is just stacked. So if you put this in a position where you had loads of things around it that you were already going to take, they would all get buffed up. We got an emerald here to try as well. So if we identify this 1% increased lightning damage passive skills grant mana recovery, we can regal this pretty bad altogether. So we can try and chaos this as well. So if we've lost the lightning damage, but it has gone to medium, which is really good. So if we go again, we've gone lightning damage again. We go once more accuracy, music, medium, increased stun, increased freeze, build up with quarter stats. This is massive for my build. I'm playing a cold golden lightning monk. So if we exalt this passive skills, GR 5%. Pin builder eye. This is not bad, so I'll show this one here. Yeah, hopefully you can see now. These aren't great positions, these aren't like perfect gems, but you can see the amount you could do with this if you found a good place to put them, and the right stuff, the right AIC is on them. So, yeah, hopefully this helps. This is definitely something that I'm trying to do more of, and, if you haven't done this yet, it might help you too. Okay, so as we've talked about the TR second, really good for getting these endgame time lost jewels. The Trial of Chaos also is really good thing to do at endgame, even after you already have your ascendancy. So again, these are with these ones here, they're the inscribed ultimatums, and the final version of these is you can do 10 trials in a row. And you go and you do a trial, you will get through the mobs, and you'll get a reward at the end. This will either be a corrupted item or a soul core. And if you go here and you go on exchange, you can kind of see what these look like. You can see here, these are all the ones on offer, and some are very good. These work the same way as runes. So if you look at them, you know what the runes do. These, they get equipped in your rune slots on your weapons and armor. And you can see here, these have similar effects. Don't sleep on them. These can be really good. One of the best ones in the game right now is the 30% increased elemental damage with attacks, and you can just get this from doing the Trial of Chaos. You can also get these on the exchange for I think 33 right now. You could get one of these for, but you can just get them from doing the trial. And I've got some to show you. If I go on, I'm obviously using an elemental build right now. You can see here on my court staff, I've mostly got physical damage, and that converts into ice in my build. However, the iron rune gives 20% increased physical damage. This thing here, the soul core of, gives 30% increased elemental. If we look at the Ice Strike right now, it does 115,000 damage. With the new patch, we can replace our gems, which is fantastic. So I could go into here, and I could replace this Iron Rune. And you can see the damage, 115,000. If I replace this with a Soul Core, replace Iron Rune with a Soul Core, yep, we've just gained 3,000 damage. So if you're trying to work out your build, definitely grab some Soul Cores. Some are a lot better than others. You can get some that increase rarity. You can get ones that work on, resistances, ones that work on different ailments. Stay tuned for part 2.